Most of the times on our sports talk show, we talk to the football teams or the basketball teams or the baseball teams, the traditional sports. But we also know that there are all kinds of athletes in Hillsdale County that don't do any of those big sports, but specialize in sports that we don't really hear a lot about. And we're joined tonight by Abby Prowse, who is a student at Camden-Frontier High School. She's a senior, and she competes in wakeboarding, frequently down in Florida. And Abby, thank you for being here.
Hi.
How on earth did you get involved in wakeboarding? I mean, we live in Hillsdale County. We have a couple of lakes, but, you know, wakeboarding is a really big sport, and you've gotten into it at a high level. How did you get involved in it?
Well, I mean, I've always been on the water since I was little, and I was like always going to marinas and checking out things, and I met with Andrew Sharon. He was a local pro. In 2011, he ranked 11th in the world, I think. And he, just kind of gave us his card. And he's like, if you guys ever want to try it, just come out and we'll see what we can do. So
about 2011, you got started in it. Now, had you done a lot of wakeboarding before then?
No, I started when I was 7, and I've only gotten up a couple times, but I used to hate it. Like, I never wanted to go out. And it was just like a drag every time. So I really got into it in about 2011.
So how did you know that you're going to be good at wakeboarding? I mean, to me, that's something that I couldn't even get up on one of those things. So, did you know that you're going to be good at it pretty quickly once you really got serious about it?
Yeah, I was coached by Andrew. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was kind of like a sudden thing. I really started liking it when I got older, and I took it more seriously, and especially when I got into the competitions, it was like, all right, this is what I'm doing, I'm gonna have to do this. And I started really being competitive and being good at it. So
now, you guys live on Lake Diane. Did you start your training there, or did you have to travel?
We started training at Lake Diane, yes, but then it started getting to the fall, so we would go down to Florida about every other month and train. So
tell me about your first competition.
My first competition, it was awful. I fell on my first trick and totally ate it in front of everybody. And then I got back up and stood up my whole pass, and it was a blessing because I cannot believe I did that good after one fall, because you only get 2 falls in a competition.
So once you made it through the first competition, did you start to get a little more confident?
Yeah, slowly I did. As I learned more tricks, I got more confident, and it's just been a blessing.
Explain to me how competition works. What are you trying to do? What are you being judged on?
Okay, so you get judged on your style, your amplitude, how hard the tricks are, and your technicality. Technicality is how difficult the trick is or how new it is. Like if you're doing a 540 over a backflip, then obviously the 540 is going to be worth more because spinning is generally harder than flipping on a wakeboard. So, and then style, it's like if you grab the board or if you poke it out or things like that. And then amplitude is how high you get and how good you're making the trick look.
So are the judges pretty fair, pretty objective, or do you wonder sometimes how they arrive at the scores?
They're pretty objective. They're fair most of the time, and it's kind of a toss-up what kind of judge you get. Sometimes they'll one trick better than another, and you think that you should win, but really they're just looking about, who rode the best that day, who showed themselves better than the person before or after you.
So you get started, you get into this a little bit more deeply. You've actually competed in some world championship events down in Florida. So talk to us about those. How have you competed against the best in the world?
Well, last year I was ranked 2nd in the nation, and then this year I didn't do as good as I wanted to. So of course I didn't, rank highly this year. But I plan on next year just kind of cleaning up house and going pro.
And what does that mean? Where would you compete and how would you make any money doing it?
Well, I plan on going to college for a year in Orlando, and Orlando is the main spot to wakeboard. So I would just train and do my thing there and ride cable a bunch and just try and go for it.
And as far as choosing what tricks that you are going to do, are those set out for you ahead of time? Do you have these tricks that you have to do that are required, or do you get some freedom about which tricks you try to do?
You definitely get freedom. you're not judged on, you know, what trick you're doing. You're judged on how you present your tricks and things like that. So you get a lot of freedom, but it's just who stands out the most in wakeboarding. Like, everyone thinks that, oh, I have to have this trick because, you know, everyone else has it. But really, it's not. You have to, like, create your own road and make yourself look different than everybody else.
Have you gotten to know some of the other competitors around the country that you've faced a few times?
Yeah, I mean, I compete with people all over the world, and they're really nice, and it's great because you get to meet all these different cultures of people, and it's a lot of fun.
What's the next step for you? When will you be training again, and when do you think you'll be competing again?
I think I'm going to go down in January and stay for a couple months maybe there, and then train for Wake Games, which is in April. So, and that's when all the countries come over. That's probably one of our biggest competitions that we go to.
The thing I always think about with sports is the things that you can control, but there are probably some variables in a wakeboarding event, like perhaps the driver of the boat or the conditions on that day with the weather. Does that factor in, or are they fairly constant as you do these competitions?
I don't know, it's a toss-up. The weather is definitely a factor. I mean, if you get rain and you're on a wakeboard, it feels like pebbles are just smashing against you. Or like if the wind picks up, then it can pick up your board and it really throws off your balance. The driver of the boat, generally they have professionals driving the boat, so that's not an issue. Now, if they get your speed wrong, then that is a big issue because, you know, you want your wake the way that you train off of it, you know, all the time. So you want it constant all the time, but that doesn't always happen. So we always have to, like, switch up everything on the boat to make it different or whatever, because if one little thing's off in a competition, that shouldn't stop you from, you know, creating a perfect run.
Do you give the driver of the boat a sheet of paper that says, these are my speeds?
No, you, right off the dock, the guy will ask you what's your speed, and you're going to be like, oh, you know, 23.5. So that's pretty much it.
And they got to be at 23.5. That's asking for a lot of accuracy there. Abby Prowse is a wakeboarder. She competes around the country, especially down in Florida, and has had a tremendous amount of success right here from the Hillsdale County area. If people listening want to be like, hey, you know, I want to get into wakeboarding. This sounds pretty cool. This is something that I'd like to pursue. What suggestions do you have for young people that might want to try to get into a sport like wakeboarding?
Well, there's Clear Lake Marina right down the road from Hillsdale. It's in Indiana, and you can just go there and be like, hey guys, you know, they have a couple promo days, or you can go out on the G23 and they'll take you out, and they have free lessons, and it's $50 in the summer. Usually it's 1 week out of the whole summer, and it's great and a lot of fun, and, you know, just go out and try it.
Now, you used to do volleyball, and I don't know if you played basketball, but I know you did volleyball and some of the traditional sports, and you've given all of that up to really focus on the wakeboarding. You know, wakeboarding doesn't have a huge following here in Hillsdale County. It's bigger around the country than it is right here. Are you happy that you made that choice? Do you wish that you could have done volleyball and continue to pursue that, or are you pretty happy with how it worked out with your athletic career, as unconventional as it is?
Well, I mean, when I first quit, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal. I quit my sophomore year on varsity, and, you know, I miss it. I miss all the girls. I miss, you know, having that team spirit deal. But, I mean, I've gone so far, there was no way I could have played volleyball and done wakeboarding, you know, together, because I wouldn't have gone as far as I am now, so.
Well, she is an athlete from our county who's doing some great things. She's had a tremendous amount of success. You'll hear more about Abby Prowse in the years to come. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.